Yesterday I received via UPS a pair of planks of Bigleaf Maple quilted that I purchased from a lumber dealer in Oregon. A Bigleaf Maple grows on the west coast and it occasionally is found in quilted form, and so I went ahead and ordered these planks for the top. Now what you're looking at right now is pretty much what I saw coming out of the box. Not very impressive figure if you're looking for quilted. So in an effort to bring out the quilting, I'm doing a little experimenting on the underside of one of the planks, an area that I will be planing off later. And the first thing I did was I took my hand plane and sharpened it up, and you can see the difference. Here's the planed area versus the unplaned area. So just getting the wood nice and smooth starts to bring out the figure of the maple. Now what I'll do next is to try a variety of finishes to make the grain pop even more. You're looking at the two planks of Bigleaf Maple that I bought that are book matched, but they're book matched on the opposite side than you're seeing. We're looking at the back side right now, and I used the back side as a little experimental palette to try out different finishes. On the left I've used anything from different kinds of oils to polyurethane varnish, some with stains underneath. I tried lacquer, I used water-based varnish, shellac with stain, and then on the other board here, the one on the left, I simply sealed the surface with some very, very light shellac and then put on about 8 coats of wipe-on polyurethane varnish, a 50-50 mix of polyurethane varnish glossy with mineral spirits, and wipe it on, let it set for 20 minutes or so, and then wipe it off. I did that about 8 times, and then I put a thin coat of wax. And what we're looking for here is to try to get the most natural looking finish. And I think you'd agree that the piece on the left is the most natural looking, and you can see the good quilting figure if you don't see the glare from my lights. Good quilting figure, and also the opposite side of these boards is almost all hardwood, which is that center section there has the more orangey look to it. So I decided that when I finish the top, I will use the finish there that's now on the right, which is the wipe-on varnish, and it'll be almost all hardwood, and it should look really nice and be very durable. One of the most important technical aspects of making furniture is that wood absorbs moisture from the air as well as giving moisture up to the air. And when a dried piece of lumber absorbs moisture from the air, it will grow in width, and of course when it dries it will shrink in width. And this has to be taken into account when making a piece of furniture so that the piece will stay together and not crack and so forth. So we need to know the moisture content of the lumber before we start to build and make sure that we account for that. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the moisture content. I'm going to use a pinless meter, which will not put any holes in the wood. The other type of moisture meter is a pin type that actually puts a couple of holes in the wood and measures the electrical resistance between the two pins. But I'm going to use a pinless meter, and to use this meter, first we need to know the specific gravity of the wood. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the weight of the wood, then measure the length, width, and depth of the wood, run some calculations so we can find the specific gravity. I'm using my bathroom scale here to do the weighing because the bathroom scale only weighs to pounds and not fractions of pounds. I'm going to weigh both pieces of our Bigleaf Maple for the top and then divide that number by 2 since these are identically shaped pieces. Let's go ahead and turn on the scale. Slip the wood in there, and the measurement shows 31 pounds. Okay, so the pair of boards was 31 pounds. I'll divide that into into half, and that makes 15.5 pounds per board, so write that down. And the next thing to do is to measure the dimensions of the board so I can calculate the cubic feet of lumber. See, the board is 9 7/8 wide, and the depth, the thickness is 1 5/16, and the length is 61 1/16. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do the math to figure out the cubic feet and then the specific gravity of the wood. So the weight was 15.5 pounds. The number of cubic feet in a single plank was 0.458, and running the math, I came up with a specific gravity of 0.54. I'll then take that specific gravity number and enter it into my moisture meter. But first, I want to position this board so I can take moisture readings. I'm going to go ahead and raise the board off of the bench, and that way I don't get any interference with the actual wood in the bench when it comes to making the reading. Go ahead and turn on my meter and enter in the proper value for moisture or for specific gravity of 0.54. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead and take some readings. See, I see 8.6, 8.7, 8.5, 8.9, 8.3, 8.8, 8.5, 8.8, 8.3, 9.1. Sometimes a little denser piece will give me a little higher reading. But it looks in general like I'm around 8.5% or so moisture content. This isn't rocket science. The decimal place doesn't make that big a difference, but this is a little, just a hair more moisture than I expect this time of year. I expect it maybe to be more like 8, 7.5, but we're definitely within the range of being able to work with this wood, and I'm sure by the time it acclimates to the shop for a few weeks or months, depending on how long it takes to build the piece, we'll be in great shape.